Okay, hello everyone. Hi, how are you guys?
Hello, doing well.
Hi.
Okay, yeah. So,
Hi, we're fine.
like, as per our discussion, we choose like two books. Two books were chosen by all of us, and we went through it. So basically, this session is all about discussion of that books and what thoughts in a literature book. It's all about the perspective. It's not about like reading the books, and understanding the book is not the only motive of reading a literature book. It's all about understanding things inside it. Maybe like five of us, we have something different understanding of that only one book. So that is the main interesting part of like reading a literature book. May give you like a brief aspects of different things. Like maybe I am seeing something different and you are something different. So this is all, and that's why we are here to discuss and like share the knowledge and share the experience what we found going through the book. Yes. So
Which book do we begin?
yeah, first we will start from There For You, and
Okay.
we will discuss from the title and then going to the like the context of the book. So first I would like to ask like one by one to each of you that what did you understand by the title? That what you felt when you like read the title, and what you felt like what's going inside that book. Yeah.
What order do we go in, or just anyone can?
Anything is fine. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with my opinion on the title.
Yes.
The title, which says "There for You," for me, it feels like a metaphorical title because I feel like the teenagers or the youngsters in the story, they actually have no one for them. So it says "There for You," but actually they are left very much on their own, and they have to earn their bread and survive in the society somehow. And they actually have no one to depend on except their a small circle of friends who are equally vulnerable, I think. So yeah, that's what I think about the title.
Yeah, nice, Priya. That's really like enlightening when you say something like that. I think that's that title only like cleared your mind, or like gave you something that yes, this is all. So yes, I think like very good understanding of the title. Next, Charu, since you are like younger to us, so I would like to know your perspective about it. Yes.
Okay. So while reading the epilogue, there was this part where the narrator is saying that for the people, for this Unga gang, it's only, only they are there for each other. They don't have anyone else to depend on.
Yes.
So that was the point I realized that what the title means. And even though there's this paragraph explaining that about apartment dwellers and how we're different from them, and we share everything. We're there for each other, and
yes.
we live like a family. So there was this comparison between this contrast between the two.
Yes.
So I think that's what the title means. Yeah.
Okay. Krishnama, you would like to share share with us?
Yeah. So like Charu said, my point is similar to her. Like in the beginning, when she is whoever is living there, it's like they are sharing almost same difficulties and suffering from each other, and they have suffering and struggles, but they feel it as it's a common thing for them. Like, it's a lifestyle that they have to go through, and it's common for people to die and like leave loved ones just because something is happening in their life, and they are just showing it as it's normal for them. As Priya also said that it's a contrast or like kind of ironic, the
Yes.
title "There For You," but at last the dreams, the desires, they never get to like achieve that. And just because they have people around them doesn't make them to feel that they can achieve everything.
Yes. Okay. So first, Ojashwini can start. She can tell her views on the title also, and let's discuss about the book also. So first,
Okay.
Ojashwini, you can do, yes.
Yeah, about the title, I felt like the book, the part that we read, it showed a working class population living in a like a what do you call it, a not so posh locality, and the troubles and all they face while living their lives. So this part that I felt justified the title. There's this I don't know what page number it is, but there's this part where the mother gets scammed and she loses a lot of money, and so she like leaves the house. And there's this part where it says, "It is because of Hanil's mom, isn't it?" My sister asked in a cold voice. I wouldn't say that exactly. She's a victim too, said the dad. It in a way shows that they are like standing up for each other, their neighbors, or the way that the sister forgoes her, trip, her world tour, her trip, and goes to Nagasaki instead. And so they make sacrifices for each other, showing that we, in a working class neighborhood, it's like you don't have like much resources. It's like we live while relying on each other. And yeah, so I think that is what we tried to show the title, that there for you. And yeah, about the book, I felt the same. Like, see, the class differences are like common. I think like all over the world. Be it Korea, be it India, the situation is like somewhat similar. Like the wide gap between the rich and the poor and all. So what I felt was like this is something that is even relatable, uh, like among the Indian population. Like
Agreed.
you know
Mhm.
the lack of resources and standing up for each other, like they do even in the Sevol fairy case, like towards the end, like the epilogue and all. So yeah, I mean, it in a way uh, like shows that people are standing up for each other. They are, if we don't look out for each other, who is going to look out for us, kind of view towards everything. So yeah, that's what I felt. It was I think the book was written in a great way. The way that she wrote it was like watching a drama or a movie in front of us. It was like so detailed that you can understand the people's emotions. So yeah, I think yeah, I like the book and the writing style of the author. And yeah, that's what I felt now. If anybody else would
Yes. Next,
share
anyone?
about their views.
Yes.
Mm, okay, I'll speak again. So this book actually had me, instantly as soon as I started reading it, because I think this book is a departure from the display of the extravagant life of Seoul City as the world knows. The city which boasts of the Hallyu wave, it's actually a very lonely city in itself as well. You might be surrounded by thousands of people, but you feel lonely at the same time. So I think more than glorifying the development of the city, this book goes into displaying the social issues and stigmas which are there in the present Korean society, and the loopholes which exist in the system. So I think the first would be the this country which boasts of uh, the development which it did in by leaps and bounds in a very short span of time. It did at the cost of dehumanization as well. People were, and I still feel they are, like, overworked, and they aspire for like a different level of perfection, which is quite inhumane by normal standards, and they are never satisfied with their hard work, and they are always um, pressured and burdened to proceed further and further. They give their blood, sweat, and tears for getting a very simple job just to sustain their normal life. And I think this when the narrator uh, describes the neighborhood, it describes diversity in the neighborhood, and this makes me feel like it was written in a very recent time, because Korea being the homogeneous society it was, maybe like even 15 years back there weren't many foreigners, and this story talks about laborers and Chinese community and everything, which shows kind of diversity and talks about the present scenario. And the while describing uh, the vicinity and the diversity, the story also reflects on the inequality which exists in the society. You are always judged and ranked by your social status. If you are a civil servant, people will look at you in a different way, and if you're just a laborer, you will always be a laborer, and you will always be reminded of your social status, not no matter how much you earn or how good of a person you are. So this society has inequality at its best till now, and these are the things which still needs to be worked on, even though it has gained its position on the one of the most developed countries in the world. And it also talks about the vulnerable situation of the youngsters of this country. Also, getting a first-hand experience here, I see what kind of hurdles and struggles they go through, and I cannot ever imagine, doing it myself. So it starts right after their birth, and I think until they die, they are always in a rush and always in a competition with others as well as themselves. And the competition is a never ending process. And it also talks about the incompetent government policies. Even though, being a very developed nation, it still has its loopholes, and the the facilities or the work conditions are still not very well reached, and it still needs to be worked on. uh, it also talks about it also talks about how the adults or the young generation right now um, sacrifice or surrender their dreams and desires to the informidable reality of today. they they want to do a lot, but then they're always held back because it's such a saturated economy right now. So that's one of the big reasons why the youth in Korea is so tired and so suffered. Also, yeah, and I think there's also a mention in the beginning about the 80-year-old lady celebrating her birthday all by her own. So I also see a lot of older generations being all alone by themselves in here in the city, and um, even the young generation can't be blamed for that, because even if they want to stick to their families, they always have to go to the cities because the 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 countryside are so lacking still, are still so lacking, and they don't have enough um, work to offer to the young generation who are forced to flock to the capital to earn some sort of recognition and some money. So yeah, this is what I think the story talks about the dark side of the society.